Episode 10, Hot Hoops here on Q30television.com, presented by Q30 Sports. Jon Alba, Morey, Hershgordon, Dylan, Fearon. The madness is about to get underway, guys. It took so long to get to March, but we're finally here at the MAC Tournament. Not Massachusetts anymore, but instead McAlbany?
Magnus.
Machoops. We're ready to go here on Hot Hoops, and we're going to talk some seeding and how far these two Quinnipiac squads can actually go when all is said and done. So let's get right underway. The number one seeded Quinnipiac Bobcats. Did you think that was going to be happening at the beginning of the season on the women's end, guys?
No, I didn't. And I was pretty adamant about them finishing third in the conference behind Marist and Iona. And they proved me wrong. Every single night going out, showing what they're made of. 20-0 in conference plays is absolutely phenomenal. I think they have what it takes to win the championship. I think if they don't make it to the championship game, I'm going to be very surprised.
Experts got it right, John. I mean,
they did.
I was surprised when they put Marist and Quinnipiac tied for first in the preseason polls, and Quinnipiac lived up to their billing. Val Driscoll, unbelievable from start to finish.
As good as advertised.
Oh, very good. Yep, Big Ten player, showed her dominance. I mean, to sustain success for 2 straight months, excellent.
Quinnipiac gets the number one seed overall in the MAC tournament. As I said, it awaits the winner of Canisius and Monmouth. What's the more favorable matchup of those two teams, guys?
I think it has to be Monmouth. Quinnipiac finished the regular season 30-point victory over Monmouth. Canisius is only not good for the Bobcats because they can shoot, and they showed that in Hamden when they shot 70% in the second half without a Jasmine Martin 27-foot three-pointer from three.
Yeah.
Without a Jasmine Martin 27-foot three-pointer with 8 seconds left. Quinnipiac loses that game, and they're not talking about an at-large seed. So it's only because Canisius can shoot the ball really well. That's why it's Monmouth. But let's be honest, either team, they're probably going to win.
Yeah, most likely going to get the W there. I mean, the chances that Canisius does that again, I mean, slim to none. But I think Morey hit it on the head. Monmouth with a 30-point blowout. The last time these two faced, either way, they're going to come away with a W, heading to the semifinals. Against a tough matchup there between Iona or Siena.
And that's exactly what I was going to say, guys. Iona, Quinnipiac, 2 victories over the Gales this season, but both victories have been hard to come by, especially the first one. Second one, Bobcats pulled away a little late. It's hard to beat a team 3 times in a season, isn't it?
We've seen that from the men's side, too, last year against Manhattan. And plus, Iona has Tamika Martinez, the best scorer in MAC history. She has the capability of going off for 40, possibly even 50 on any given night. And we could possibly be seeing that in Albany this weekend.
Let me ask you this. Marist or Iona, who is Quinnipiac more likely to be challenged by?
It's got to be Iona. Like Dylan said, D'Amica can score the rock at any time. Joy Adams poses problems on the rebounding side for Quinnipiac. Rebounding is not the women's basketball team's strength. But look at Quinnipiac's game plan last year. A lot different of a team in Iona, but when they met in the semifinals, D'Amica Martinez, 32 points. Joy Adams, 20 points. You can have them score as many as they want as long as you keep Lizarazu, Aaliyah Robinson, and the counterparts, the role players, below their averages.
They didn't even keep Aaliyah Robinson in check the last time, and they still were able to come away with a win.
On the other end, Marist and Fairfield, one of those teams could very well end up in the MAC championship game. Guys, before we get into your prediction for how the women's side ends out, tell me this. Is this an at-large team if it does lose in the championship game?
I've said no. I said it last week. I said
no.
No.
There's no chance of it, Dylan.
There is no chance. There's absolutely no chance because there's no quality win. We said it on the last show. What's the quality win? St. Joseph's? I mean, come on. You're telling me I can't find 32 at-large teams, 32 teams in the Power 5 conferences and other mid-major conferences that are better than this team? I think I can. And I think I probably will if they don't win the championship.
20-0. That's something that's never been done in the MAC before. It's only been possible for 2 years to be fair, but nonetheless.
Let me ask you this: if they're right there, if they don't win the championship and they're in the bubble right there, and you've got Quinnipiac, a mid-major team that went 20-0 but doesn't have a quality win, and you've got a Big Ten.
I didn't say they don't have a quality win.
And you've got a Big Ten team that has quality wins versus other Big Ten squads and other Power 5 teams. You're going to tell me you're going to put Quinnipiac over a Purdue or an Indiana?
I'm not saying that, but you're saying there's no chance of that happening. Morey, what do you think?
I think there is a chance. Army, Hampton, Drexel, St. Joe's, Patriot League, MEAC, CAA, Atlantic 10. Those are all mid-major conferences. Those are all teams in the middle, towards the upper part of those conferences. Army, Hampton are at the top of those conferences. If you've beaten other good mid-major programs, you are the best of the mid-major programs that don't win your conference tournament. You should really be in serious consideration. Like Jon said, it's not a lock that they're in. It's not a lock that they're out. They're right on that bubble. It's going to have to be a 2-3 point loss in a championship game.
To stop this argument, I mean, they're just going to have to win 3 games.
You win, absolutely. No, I 100%
Win
agree
the championship.
For the record, I think there's
They're
a
going to the
chance of it. I think there's a chance of it.
Yes.
I don't think it's a good chance. I'd put it at maybe 35, 40 at most.
Percent?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. But I think people value the MAC a lot higher than some experts perceive it to be. I think the committee looks at things in that regard. So, where does it end for this women's team? Does it end with a trip to March Madness, or does it come a little earlier for them?
They're going to win 3 games in Albany. They're going to go dancing in March for the second time in 3 years. There's going to be no discussion about an at-large because they won't need it because they're going to get an automatic
Who are
bid.
they beating in the championship game?
Marist.
Marist, but I think a Niagara team upsets a Fairfield to face Marist in the championship, in the semifinals. So Niagara-Marist is that semifinals. That's going to be a better game than expected. Niagara took down Marist. Marist is going to get by. They're used to being there. Brian Georges is going to have his squad ready to go, but I think Quinnipiac starts off slow early in game 1 and then cruises.
Quinnipiac is going to get challenged earlier in this tournament than people think. It happened in the Northeast Conference tournament against Mount St. Mary's. I think it's going to happen again. It could come against an Iona. It could come against a Siena. But I agree. I believe that this team is also going to the NCAA tournament. Where it ends up from there, maybe it's a 12, maybe it's a 13. But regardless, I do believe that this team is in the NCAA tournament. We move ahead to the men's side now. Quinnipiac, its seeding was up in the air heading into our last episode. Now it's solidified. It is a 6 seed against the number 11 Marist. Awaiting the Bobcats, if they do advance past Marist, are the Jaspers of Manhattan, who they just lost to 69-65 this past weekend. Guys, your thoughts?
I think this team has the capability, the talent, to make it to the championship game. I also think they play down to opponents every once in a while and could lose Thursday night. So you've got this team, this inconsistent team, that could lose in the opening round or make it to the championship game and be 40 minutes away from dancing. I like the matchup against Marist. I think they'll come away with the W there, and then you get to Manhattan in the quarterfinals, and I think that's where the train probably stops.
First round matchup for the men's is similar to the women's. Canisius can shoot the ball really well on the women's side. Marist can really score the ball on the men's side. Siobhan Lewis, Khalid Hart. Khalid Hart was the Rookie of the Year last year.
Those a big shot against St. Peter's that allowed Quinnipiac to lock up the 6th seed.
Yep. Both those two can score the rock. Then Quinnipiac faces Manhattan on Saturday if they do advance. I think if they beat the Jaspers, they get to the championship game.
Agreed.
Personally, I think they don't beat the Jaspers for reasons that we'll talk about in a couple minutes. I think they lose on Saturday night like they did last year. But I don't know. We'll have to see.
Keep in mind, Matt Lopez no longer a factor for Ryder. So I believe you to be correct that if Quinnipiac does get past the Jaspers, I could very well see it in the championship game as well. But could you argue that Marist is a trap game?
Yes, because they were unhealthy all season long, and that's why they're at the 11th seed. I mean, this team was capable of being a 7 or an 8 seed if they were healthy all year. So you've got 2 potent scorers. You've got one of the best scorers in the league. Siobhan Lewis led the league in scoring at over 20 points per game. So this team, Quinnipiac team, could be going home Thursday night.
That's a trap game. Every first-round team has a chance to go far. You look at the bracket. St. Peter's as a 7 seed, great defensive team. You know, defense can win you championships. You beat a scrappy Fairfield team, then you face a Ryder team who doesn't have Matt Lopez. Siena's got the home court advantage. Niagara, yeah, they're a 9 seed. They've won 4 straight to end the year. Emil Blackman can just fill the stat sheet. He had 32 against Quinnipiac. I mean, any of these first-round teams, yeah, they didn't catch a bye, but there's a lot of parity, like we said. It could be Iona and the rest, but I think there's a lot more parity than just Iona and the rest.
So is it Iona and the rest when all is said and done? When Monday night comes around at 9 o'clock, is Iona standing tall as your champion, and where does Quinnipiac end up?
Iona will lose in the quarterfinals, and I'll tell you why. If they play
quarterfinals,
if they play any team in a neutral court,
that's its first game.
That's right. If they play any team at a neutral court,
Siena
they win.
And Niagara.
Siena. I'll tell you why. Home game.
Okay.
I mean, the Times Union Center it's a huge advantage, more than people really imagine. Jimmy Patos is going to have this team ready. I can tell you that. If they play each other, Siena can get by Niagara, which I think they will, and then they play Iona, they're coming away with a W. And that's why I have Siena going to the semifinals and then losing to the Canisius Monmouth winner. And I have Manhattan going all the way, winning the MAC championship.
So Brett Bisping is out. Rob Poole doesn't play the last game of the regular season, and Siena just magically turns it on. It's Iona, John. They got back Isaiah Williams. Cedric Casimir, in my opinion, had a very good chance at first-team All-League. Yes, he's a freshman. Justin Robinson played well. Zaid Hurst played well. He wasn't going to pass A.J. English, but as a freshman, lit it up. You know what Laurie's going to do every night. You know what English is going to do. Amayo's a big body. They have a great coach in Tim Kluse, who's been rumored to go to the St. John's job once that opens up in the New York area. It's the Iona Gales, and then I could see the Iona Gales going to the Sweet 16.
Crazy things. What do you think, though, first, John?
I'll answer that in a second, but I want to get your thoughts. Where does Quinnipiac drop out?
They're going to lose to Manhattan. They're going to be Manhattan.
So you think they get past the first round?
Yeah.
And
I have them losing to Manhattan as well. If they can beat Marist and somehow escape Manhattan, then it's the championship. I don't see them falling in the semifinals.
I think Quinnipiac gets to Manhattan as well, and I think that's where the Bobcats drop out. I think the press is just too good for Manhattan, and with Kasim Chandler potentially out with a concussion, or even if he is back, he's not going to be 100%. So I think that's going to play a major factor. Quinnipiac almost got beat by the press against Siena, and that is alarming because Siena doesn't have a great press. I like what you say about Siena and Iona. I think Iona does win, but Siena is averaging the largest student fan support in all of the MAC at the Times Union Center nonetheless. So Quinnipiac not making the NCAA tournament on the men's side? We all agree?
No.
I agree as well. I've got Iona, you've got Iona, and you've got Manhattan. Quinnipiac all around on the women's side. NCAA tournament bound, that's what we've got. That's all the time we have here for episode 10 of Hot Hoops. For more information, you can follow us on Twitter and Facebook and all of our social media at Q30 Sports, and find us online at www.q30television.com. Find me on Twitter at Jon Alba SFC, JONALBASFC, at Ma Hirsch, at Put the Fearon. If that doesn't put a little fire in you, then get ready for all of our coverage in Albany. Q30television.com. We'll see you next time.